meeting for 6 o'clock Thursday, May the 12th. Tonight, our invocation will be given by Chris Arias, and I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So would you please stand? Gentlemen, please remove your hat.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gift of life, family, and friends. Heavenly Father, we pray for rain, that you quench the thirst of your tired earth. We pray this in your name. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Peter Litchfield,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb,
Yeah.
Commissioner Gamera,
Here.
Commissioner Arias,
Here.
Commissioner Terry.
Here.
Are there any considerations of changes or deletions to the agenda?
I'd like to request that item 6B be removed from the agenda. I believe a concerned citizen will be speaking at during public comments.
Okay, thank you. Any others? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb,
Yes.
Commissioner Gamera,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes. Next is public comments. Citizens wishing to speak at this time must sign up prior to the start of the meeting. Public comments is an opportunity for citizens to comment on non-agenda items. This is not for discussion nor questions and answers, and citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak. First on our agenda tonight is Julie Sursa.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I think many of you know me, some of you don't, but in past lives, we've touched bases. I'm here tonight because I have a real concern. I live on the south side of I-40. I understand that there's been a deal made to put Truck Stop of America in there, and I understand the city's desire to support businesses because it does help our community. However, I feel like as a citizen, the people that live across the street are kind of like, oh, they're just second, they're behind. They're not there. The money's going to come in on Truck Stop of America and Tucumcari is going to benefit. But the people that live there are the ones who are going to have to put up with the noise. We're going to have to put up with the traffic. We're going to have to put up with the trash. And I just feel like someone from the city and the county commission need to look at some of the issues that are there. It's not a very good place to put a truck stop. Number one, the traffic congestion is going to be a real problem. Coming off of I-40 going west, those trucks having to make a left-hand turn onto 209 are going to have a really hard time making their turns with the traffic that goes back and forth on 209. And it's not like it's heavy traffic, but I'm telling you, there's one vehicle going south, and then there's another one going north, then there's another one going south, maybe another one going south, plus all the people that come off on the east ramp going east who don't stop at the stop sign. They just come right on through and make their turns. I think it's going to be a nightmare down the road. And then when and if engineers or people involved in the traffic situation say, oh, hey, we're going to have to do something different with these highways, who pays for that? It's the taxpayer that pays for that. The benefit went to the owner and the benefit went to Truck Stop, but it's not a benefit in that area to the citizens of this community. The second thing that really concerns me is the amount of noise pollution, the trash. Our winds have been blowing sometimes 60 and 70 miles an hour. There's no way the trash can be picked up adequately to keep it from blowing all the way east. And it's an eyesore. And that gets me to my third reason. My third reason is we revere Tucumcari Mountain. I mean, we draw people in on 66, but Tucumcari Mountain is kind of iconic for Tucumcari. And why would we want to put a pimple on the face of the mountain? Because that's what it is. It's going to be an eyesore. It doesn't necessarily sit right there by the mountain, but it sits in that area. And I guess I want to ask, are environmental studies being done? Are traffic studies being done? Is this just a done deal and nobody has any say about it? Because I think there's some really serious issues here. And I think there are better spots. I'm not against a truck stop, but I think there are better places to put one. And finally, what I'd like to say is that we citizens of this community are your biggest asset. I think sometimes when we're looking at the dollar signs, we forget that. We forget that the citizens need to have input. The citizens need to have an opportunity to voice their concerns. And everything's so hush-hush, we don't even know what's going on. We don't know who owns the property. We don't know if there's anything going to be, any public meetings going to be slated. Maybe it's out of your control. I don't know. I don't know about what's going on. That's why I'm here.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Wayne Fox.
Hi guys, how are y'all today?
Good.
I was here just to talk about, really about some stop signs and maybe safety, and I have something I want to show y'all. It's kind of crude, but it should.
Thank you.
I'll take one as well.
Okay, so.
Oh, yes.
So, what I got here is, if y'all know, I live at the 1505 South 4th Street, and the traffic on 4th and 5th is bad. We've got a lot of people that kind of speed racers that are running up and down there, and you can hear them all night long. And I've talked to Pete about it, and he's got his patrol officers out there, and they're kind of watching, but, they can't catch everybody. We've got kids and grandkids, on those blocks. And as you see here, on 4th and 5th, there's not a stop sign going south plumb to Washington. But you look at 2nd, 3rd, even 7th in front of the high school. We got stop signs all over there. And I just kind of wanted to maybe see if y'all guys would consider putting 2 stop signs at least on 4th and 5th that'll slow these guys down. Because they're not just, it's side streets are 25 miles an hour. They're not driving 35 or 40. These guys are driving 55, 65. There's a red pickup turning the other day, and he didn't let off the gas till he already shifted 3 gears. So he was doing 60 miles an hour. And they're having this problem in Albuquerque. And if you recall, not too long ago, they had a little Mustang that hit a school bus and turned it over. And there's a big difference in weight there. So the guy was going awfully fast, and they said it was a racer. There's a lot of these young kids in town that are just running down 4th and 5th. Marty Martinez on 4th Street called about 2 weeks ago on a white Camaro, and I heard him and seen him. And like his comment was, Dean and Christine Montano's kids walk across the street to Dino's garage. What if someday one of them get run over? And I just think if we had some stop signs somewhere in between the boulevard and Washington, it would at least slow these guys down. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is Christine Olson.
Hi, everyone. I hope y'all are doing great this evening. I'm here representing the chamber this evening. I gave you all a copy of our flyer. We're working with the city to put on the return of the Piñata Fiesta. And so I kind of gave you guys a preliminary flyer of kind of some of the things that we've already secured and planned for the upcoming event. We have a few things still in the works, but I'm real excited. The 2 things we really want to encourage people to participate in is, first off, is the parade. We want to have a huge parade. We did really well this last year with the Christmas parade, probably better than ever we've had in a lot of years. And so, this being our return, we want it to be a huge thing for the community. And so, we'd like to, if you got a classic car or, nice car, and put a few streamers on it, hang a piñata on the tailgate or something, and come right through the parade. We want it to be huge. And so we're really encouraging groups to get out and just participate and ride their bikes or their motorcycles or their 4-wheelers or whatever. So anyway, that's the first thing. The other thing is we are taking registration for vendor booths. We've got about 4 or 5 signed up right now, just mostly food booths. But we'd like to encourage the vendors to come out. And, if you've got a special need or request, we'll do our best to work with you because we want to have a lot of things for folks to do. And we like to really focus on stuff for the kids. So we really put forth some effort to try to bring some things that are good for the kids. And then, of course, the evening time, we're going to have a kind of what we're calling a dance. But it'll be fun. We've got some great entertainment lined up. And we're going to have the kids decorate some piñatas, which Scott's on his way now to pick up the piñatas. But the different grades are going to decorate piñatas. And they're going to get to bust them at the Piñata Festival. So we're going to have a blast. So hope you guys will mark it on your calendars and come join us and participate.
Thank you. Next is Connie Loveland.
Good evening. I didn't know I was gonna get to talk tonight, but I will take this moment to echo what Wayne is saying. I live just around the corner from him, and the traffic there is horrible. No stop signs, and people scream through there at all hours of the night. But I want to speak to you about requesting a work session with the Tucumcari Main Street Board and the City Commission, as well as a state staff person on Monday, the 23rd.
Right.
We would have normally asked for that on the regular meeting, but that is the state's RFP process day, so we can't, the state employee can't come down then. And this would be to discuss the $400,000 capital outlay grant and our upcoming contract renewal.
So, the 23rd is on a Monday.
Yeah, it is a Monday, sorry about that.
Do you have time?
Do I have time?
5 o'clock.
No, I don't have, I don't work on Mondays, but I will for this. I don't have a time. If we could do it earlier in the day or later, whatever works for you guys.
I asked her to do this under public comment because she had asked me about it. I didn't get it on the agenda. So I knew we couldn't discuss it under new business or anything. That's why I've asked her to come and ask about it now, so. And I know we don't usually discuss under public comment, and I apologize for that, but this was something that needed to be scheduled now. So does that sound all right, Mark?
I had something pre-existing that day. Could we do it another day, the 20th, or is that, it has to be?
I won't be in town then. Yeah, that's the only day Eduardo can come, so our schedules are overlapping with the Main Street Now conference, and he has another conference that he's going to, and then they start all their employee RFP process.
You got town, Mark?
Yes, sir, but I can see if I could change that.
I apologize. I had hoped to get this done sooner, but with our contract coming up in June, I'd like to discuss a few things too.
Is it 23rd at 5 o'clock?
If that's what works for you guys, really on that part, it probably would work better because of everybody working.
I'll be available after that 5.
Okay. For the rest of you.
I don't have anything to do anytime.
So,
And
see if you can, and if you can, we'll see if we can work.
Could we meet probably down at the depot?
Or here, wherever, if we could,
Over here. It has to be a public meeting.
yeah, if it's a public meeting, we'd probably need to be here.
And Alika's off that day too.
We can have two,
That's two.
we can have his graduation, you can have Roll.
Let's move it to 1.
Or we can do it that, well,
Well, don't you have somebody else to take minutes?
No, actually we don't. The last person I used to do that's no longer here.
So we got a recording device.
Do it, record it. Does somebody know how to operate it?
Mark does.
I gave you a whole lot of credit.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
We'll
figure it
talk about it.
Okay, so the 23rd at 5.
Set for the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
temporarily schedule it for the 23rd, and then we'll see if something happens.
$400,000 to try to work with you.
I would appreciate that.
Really. What other kind of agenda? There it is. All right. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is approved by a single motion. Any member of the commission may request an item be transferred to the regular agenda from the consent without discussion or vote. And the consent agenda consists of approval of commission meetings for April 28th and for work session notes from April 28th. Do I have
I move to approve the consent agenda.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Canada,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem White.
Yes.
Next, on the agenda is bids and contracts, airport runway 826 maintenance state agreement.
Yes, ma'am, I'll be presenting that. The only thing changing with this is we had previously approved this at a prior meeting. The only thing that will be changing is the federal funding source has changed, not the amount, just the actual source where the feds will pay their portion out of it. So with that, I'd ask for an approval on this agreement.
Any questions or discussion on this? I would entertain a motion to approve this agreement.
I'd make that motion, but I'd like to point out that's a huge amount of money for just a little bit of money on our side. It's almost all grant.
Right.
95% grant.
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem White,
Yes.
Commissioner Canada.
Next, under new business is lodger's tax budget. Are you asking for an approval of this?
Yes, ma'am, this is an approval. This is the same budget that was presented at the last commission meeting's work session. Just want to give the commission enough time to review what we had presented last time. If they had any suggestions, questions, want to make any changes, now's the time to do so. And yes, an actual budget for FY23 for lodging tax.
Okay. I got some questions. I was looking at it, where is it? I was looking at the one we have for rocking on the route. And we are budgeting 25,000 for it. And the one we discussed the last time, you weren't sure if they were gonna do it or not. Is that correct? They were asking for a huge amount, 60,000?
Yes, sir, they're asking for 60,000.
And why are we budgeting 25 for it?
That's just what I suggested because the amount requested by the applicant was 25,000, lodger's tax recommended 20,000, and my recommendation was 25,000.
The 60,000 came throughout the discussion with the applicant, correct?
Correct. The applicant originally only requested $25,000. It was just a copy and paste from the year prior. But after putting some pen to paper and really thinking about it and based on inflation with everything else, the applicant asked for 60,000 at the lodger's tax meeting. Didn't have much time to explain himself. He was kind of rushed out of that conversation, so it kind of died at that point. He didn't have a chance to really explain why he was asking for that amount of funds. We talked about it privately in our own conversation, but he thought that's what it would take to put on a quality event like he typically had. And the reasoning behind that amount as well is he wanted to make it free to the public. There's going to be no charge. Typically, there's tickets to get into the special performances at night and concerts and whatnot. He wanted to provide that all free of charge. But yeah, that was a special request after the fact. He had already submitted his application for $25,000.
You know, I think we're not sure what's going on as far as really the solidarity of the application, because still we're getting some mixed messages here. One's 25, one's 69,000. And because of the previous history, I would recommend to the commission we omit that part from this budget, and if we can get more solid numbers or something like that, then we might reconsider. But at this point, I really wouldn't want to see giving any money until we have more solid things, because we did have a past experience on this, and it wasn't his fault. But at the same time, I feel that we're liable for this money, and therefore we should not consider it until we have more solid numbers or something else. That's all I can say.
Would it be possible for the commission to schedule him in a work session in the near future to
We could do
discuss
that.
those options he had going forward?
We could do that. And like I said, his request, like Commissioner Moore said, it was actually 69,000, and I talked him down to at least 60 at this point. He's definitely still interested in holding this event here at Tucumcari. I think it's one of our most successful events. I'd hate to lose it. But But yeah, we could further discuss this. I think it's something that doesn't necessarily have to be approved tonight for the sake of getting these others ready for the budget. What I'm trying to do is get a final budget so we can present it when we have our total fiscal year budget here in a couple of weeks. But we do have cash reserve, which if the city chose to at that time to fund them later, even at the full amount, we do have the funds available to do so.
And of all this, if you look at it, this is probably one of the most private enterprise event. I mean, actually, their event is to make profit, and I have nothing against it, but at the same time, at this point, I really don't feel comfortable even approving that part. I would want it omitted from the larger tax budget for 2013.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
It's not like that, there's not any money in the larger tax right now.
Correct.
So if you leave it in the budget and don't use it, it rolls over back to the larger tax. If you don't put it in there and you decide to do something with it and all, then it means going to DFA and doing
And there's
budget
not,
adjustment request. I don't think it's going to hurt just to leave the money there to put it in the budget. If we don't have to use it.
actually, Commissioner, the reason I'm doing this, we had an experience before, and we did not get one because the COVID was there. And we got some sort of, what was it, a video or something, but we had it 2 years ago.
It was a
So
lot.
actually, since we're responsible for this money, I think we need to be responsible. The fact is, we already had an experience with this thing. Why are you continuing to encourage it? The whole deal is we need to, it's not a big deal to come back and do a bar. But it secures the money that the event is secure and he has the costs for it and everything else. And then the commission can do the decisions then. Well, I mean, it's not a problem. If we don't want to do the work, the bookkeeper can do the bar and we can approve it.
Doesn't matter. I can tell you what the lodger's tax, it felt the same way. He was late getting his proposal in, or he had the proposal, but he didn't do a presentation.
So actually, the larger tax is in agreement to hold on the funding. Is that what you're saying?
No, the lodger's tax,
They
they
recommended
didn't recommend,
20,000.
no, they recommended 20,000 if you wanted to do it.
I'm still very leery on this thing.
I
would
understood
highly recommend.
that the return on investment on what he was doing was pretty good.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, and we don't have any numbers. Nobody presents numbers on the events, how the gross receipts are up. The larger stacked up or not during the time of these events or not compared to anything else. So really, we just have hearsay things, And I think I like numbers, I like facts, and I like data. And this is not presenting any of it.
Madam Mayor, if I may, each applicant is supposed to turn in a post-event report to kind of give some numbers. And it's hard to determine the true return on investment in June because that's when the motel and hotel owners claim that their season busy anyhow. Typically from about May through end of July is their busy season. So it's hard to really judge. And that's what we went with the comment cards. We had discussed that in the previous meeting. To elaborate, I agree with Commissioner Cherry. My suggestion was to go ahead and keep that money in there, but not earmarked for the actual Rockin' on the Roof Festival. As you can see on the monthly budget report from Lodger's Tax, these 2 pages here,
Yeah, I saw that.
there's already a line item in there that talks about whether it's miscellaneous event requests or transfer to Lodger's Tax promotional. Not Lodger's transfer, it's going to be on this other side.
Let me see.
Admin charges. Miscellaneous requests. So they're both miscellaneous requests. I recommend moving the $25,000 into that line item because we still have it for any other events that may come up. I already know there's another proposal from the New Mexico Music Commission. I have a meeting with them and an organization to discuss another music event opportunity. And in doing so, I think I was actually going to ask to add an additional 20,000 into that. If not, we have the cash there, but it's cleaner if we don't have to tap into our reserve. You can always do bars, but it looks a lot more favorable and it looks like we're at least planning and looking to the future and presenting our budget instead of just going along here. Hey, we have the money, let's spend it, throw money at things. We need to try to work it into that budget.
Why don't we do this, why don't we delete that and put it into that musical thing that you're talking about, and that would be better off, and leave the rocking on the road until we get some more, information on it, and what's the end result of it. But I'm really, at this point, I'm not really in favor in, funding the 25,000 for rocking on the road at this point. Because I think that's, and actually, anything else has to go back to the larger stack. That's why we have an advisory board, and I don't think we should be.
And that's-
Yeah.
Commissioner Cherry's on that, so.
Well, yeah, I'm a liaison.
Yeah.
I need to tell you though, they spend a lot of time in discussion on this. They do a really excellent job, and I commend them for that. So they turned in some realistic requests, I believe. So if you'll make that amended motion or whatever.
Okay, do you want, should we go ahead and do this? I make a motion that we approve the larger stack budget for 2023, omitting the request from Rocky Mountain Good until we have the better data and whether it's gonna go or not, and move it to, whatever you call it, so it's miscellaneous request.
So Commissioner Moy, could we, with that, would you be okay still adding on that we meet with Mr. Whitcomb to decide?
Yeah, he can come and give us a good presentation, but, and like I said, being responsible for the money is the most key factor here. And,
Do I have a second?
I did have a question, Mayor. So
Yeah.
that was $25,000 that's being moved over from rocking on the roof. That was out of promotional. I misspoke earlier. So I need an additional, I prefer 25,000 out of executive to increase the executive side. From the 25,000 for miscellaneous requests, and actually that would be 50,000.
no, we're gonna keep it at 25, we have to bring it out of the executive and do omit the 25 from the promotional. Because you're saying you have another event coming in that might be possible.
Correct, but by doing that, those are executive funds I was requesting. for.
That's what we'll go ahead and
Some
request,
promotional.
we'll go ahead and, if you're gonna request another 25,000, then we should do away with this 25,000 and just amend the motion that will read that 25,000 will come out of the executive area and omit the 25,000 that's coming out of promotional. We're not gonna jump into a $50,000 manipulation here. We're just gonna either go 25 for the request or omit that and add a 25 on the executive for that other part, for the, what do you call the, miscellaneous.
I guess technically it would only be 25,000. I'm asking for an additional 25,000 on executive. This 25,000 promotional does not be earmarked for Rock and Root, it just goes to miscellaneous.
No, I understand, but I also understand what you do. You're trying to get more money from in case it comes here and we go up higher. And so at this point, I don't really want to see that. I just want to have the 25,000 into the miscellaneous, or if you want it out of the executive, we'll pull it out of the executive. But we're not playing games here. I don't want 25,000 if it's not in the budget, and we're not going to go 50,000. No, it's either gonna be, we keep the 25, promote it into a special event, or if you want the 25 out of executive, we can pull it out of executive funding.
Okay,
So my motion is clear.
okay.
So at this
Repeat
point,
your motion.
okay, my motion is clear that we approve the largest tax for the fiscal year 2023 budget. And at this point, I said I'm gonna keep it at 25,000 to be omitted from the Rocking on the Root, and it'll go into what we call promotional, miscellaneous funds. Miscellaneous requests, okay? And that's my motion at this point, I think.
Okay, so we would remove Rocking on the Roof completely from the budget.
And if he comes, he can do a presentation, and we can do a bar on it.
Madam Mayor, before, if there's a potential second, may I just ask you a few questions on
Yes.
this secondary event? And it's first I'm hearing of it, so can you elaborate a little bit more on what this is and what all it's going to entail?
It's new to me. I haven't had much chance to follow up with the individuals. It's something that the New Mexico Music Commission passed down to me as a city. It's all been relayed third-party information. And I'm supposed to meet with these individuals to see there's potential matching. Say we put $25,000, they're actually requesting a lot more. I've heard numbers higher than that, but they would match, I guess, and helping us have a large event. So with that, I don't want to close the door on that because that would be executive funds. Those would be executive funds. That's to bring talent in and have a larger festival. So by moving this money over to promotion, it really doesn't help us with that request that's coming or proposal that's being presented. Now we'll know more until I meet with these individuals.
So,
That is it.
So your request of 25,000 come from the executive side, you want us just going to set that aside into the miscellaneous? That way we have it. It's eaten as
can
much
we
as
do that on a different motion?
I
Instead of
can
including,
I can amend my motion, and my motion would be, we delete the Route 66 25,000 and add in addition, 25,000 from executive for possibly, for the other one. And the only thing we're dealing with is my concept is let's stay on the 25,000. Let's not start jumping from 50,000 into another budget here. 25 is where we need to stay.
but without even knowing what they're gonna give us, we're gonna give them $25,000.
Well, no, we can do,
I'm sorry, I don't.
no, ma'am, we can also do a bar, and if they request more, but that's how what we're doing is putting in there something to work with.
Well, and maybe those are different words, but so you're requesting that the 25,000 that we already earmarking from Route 66 be set aside. For
Rocket on the Road.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
What did I say? I'm sorry. And then an additional 25 for this new event into the miscellaneous that we can,
Yes, that was
that we can disperse later as we sell.
correct. That was my recommendation.
So it's another request tonight to do that. It hasn't been even gone through lobster's tax.
Correct, and it's executive, so it doesn't have to, but to streamline things, I mean, it's there. Either way, these funds aren't going to be available until July 1, so it doesn't have to be rushed tonight.
And being set into the miscellaneous account, it's not committing these funds to anybody.
Correct. It's miscellaneous. It's
Hold
eligible.
off and go with his original proposal, just leave the 25, but not for Route
We can do that.
66. I'm paraphrasing you. And just don't get into this AMP deal until we sit down to do a budget, because some of that scares the heck out of me.
I just need to be certain that I have a final budget with everything attached, ready to go by mid-June.
Right, well, the law, you have to have it by the
Yeah,
end of June.
exactly. I just want to make sure, so when we go plug in our numbers, that's what we're working with. Worst case scenario, like Commissioner Boyd said, we have a bar, we can adjust it, it's not best practice, but we can if we have to. Something great comes along, it's a good opportunity.
And it gives you more opportunity to get some more information and pass it on.
Correct.
Motion stands. 4, going ahead and moving the 25 to special events or miscellaneous events.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Terry?
If I know what I'm voting on, I'll vote aye.
Do you know? Mayor Litchfield?
No.
Commissioner Moya?
Yes.
Commissioner Gamera?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Okay. Next is the, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing I wanted to do is remind everybody that the city has implemented a burn ban. I don't think I've had the chance to actually announce that here at a city commission meeting and get it out there on the radio or out on YouTube, but 100% we are in a burn ban right now, and we will continue to do so until the climate improves, if we're out of drought conditions and out of extreme fire threats. But right now, that's not going to happen, and we need to consider within the near future. We're bound by ordinance if we're going to choose to allow fireworks or not, which that'll be coming up soon, next month in June. So we'll have to have those serious discussions.
I'm glad you said that tonight because I've been getting questions from Municipal League and from the Mayor's Caucus wanting to know if we have established a burn ban. So
We have.
so I can answer them now.
It's posted on the city website.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and post it on the Facebook account, the city's Facebook account as well. But again, just wanted to put it out there that we are in a burn ban.
Are you gonna be on the radio tomorrow morning, you know?
I should be. I have a meeting at 8 o'clock with the insurance company, so it might be tight. We'll see. I should be. If not, then I may make a few phone calls and ask that they announce it. The other thing I wanted to note is there was a lot of concern and questions about what is the city of Tucumcari doing to help with all the victims of the fires up near Las Vegas. I did have the chance to meet with the county manager and county emergency manager. We also had the opportunity to speak with Allie Rice. She is the Response Recovery Bureau Chief of the Department of Homeland Security in Santa Fe. We can't self-deploy an emergency shelter for something that's happening outside of our county. The only time we could implement some kind of emergency shelter on spot is by us shutting down to, say, an ice storm or snowstorm on the interstate. But what we did do, we were able to step up and tell them the resources that we do have. We told them we have the facilities to house people. We told them we have 200 cots, 200 blankets, etc. So the county commissioner and I got together. We went and checked. We do have the emergency shelter stuff stored. It's ready to go. It's in the trailer ready to go, so we can deploy it at any time. So as the states asked us for resources, we're able to provide them. They did ask for fire support for us, fire protection. So we sent out an engine and 2 crew members. They also asked for us to provide drinking water if need be. We are willing to do that and able to do that. We just told them we didn't have the means of transporting it to them. So they exercised a different option. And then the third thing that they provided, they needed some help at the state EOC Emergency Operations Center. So our emergency manager is actually down there helping out at the EOC. So although we're not opening a shelter at this time, we have the capability to do so, and we're called upon. And we're doing our part as best we can to help out. The locals have done a great job. So again, we're here. As soon as we're called upon, we'll answer. I also want to let everybody know that I had a meeting the other day with a gentleman named Scott, I believe it's Devitt. Ron was there as well. We went and did a walk through the Princess Theater. He is interested in potential filming opportunities there at the Princess Theater. So went ahead and gave him a theater. Sounds promising. So he promised he'd stay in contact with us. So I hope that we're able to move forward on that and getting that utilized again and looking at the opportunities of different grants and whatnot to get the Princess Theater going again. Also want to let the public know that we did have a special work session and meeting last Thursday. We started discussing the upcoming fiscal year budget. There is some opportunities that we're able to find potential funding sources for the swimming pool. Again, it's not going to be able to be open this year, but we're looking to try to make repairs and hopefully open it by 2023. That's a goal. It'll be expensive, but we're going to see what we can do. And Commissioner Moy, I know we had the discussion about the excise tax on cannabis. I was able to confirm, I reached out to some sources. We'd still get our cut of GRT no matter what, which is roughly 1.1825, I believe, % of all GRT. But municipalities get 1/3, it wasn't half, it's 1/3 of the 12% excise tax.
Because there's,
So we'll get 4% off the excise tax as well as a 1.1825. So with that being understood, we have firm numbers. We'll be able to make some projections, still conservatively, but a little bit more realistic projections where we can put that in, like we discussed with the parties. Number one is our employees, getting back to them and make sure we have some competitive wages, as well as infrastructure, equipment for our employees, as well as another one that stood out is hopefully something for the kids and people of all ages to enjoy that pool. So we're going to go out, get additional quotes, see what we can do to get a firm number on that, to try to get that thing open by next year.
do they really know how bad it is or what needs to be done? Because that thing's been leaking for a long time. I mean, we got nothing but sandy soil there, so I don't know how much you can even have a big hole under there.
Probably would have that.
And the contact, they probably do. How much it's gonna cost, because this has been, since I've been in the commission, this has become a procrastinating problem. We don't seem to open, we close, we open and then close, And the public wants that place for their use, And if we can't do a good, adequate job, then we need to look at the other alternatives that we discussed at the last meeting. Because the problem is, we cannot be patching things and then come back and say we can't do it again. Because this is the second time we have fixed that place.
Correct.
And every time we put in money, it's a lot of money. We still owe 60,000 that we haven't completed, paying for from the last renovation.
Right.
And if we can do it once and one only, that would be the ideal thing to do.
And that's why I want to reassess, because if we could, it's more than just a Band-Aid. If we're able to go through and make some significant repairs at a decent amount of money without having to completely do a new pool, that's a lot more effective. But again, that's why I said we need to reassess. If not, then maybe it's not realistic, but I wanted to state that we do have funds available if need be for a repair. To try to get
Where are those funds
Let's
coming
look at our options.
Yeah, correct. We're just weighing out.
Yeah, that's it. That's where are the options, where are these funding coming from? What area?
From the city, we have some funds, we have some upcoming funds that, we have some savings this year that will be rolling over. We also have some funds that were received due to the, GRT lawsuit we were a part of. We also have some funds that we're expecting next year in the form of GRT from Cannabis. So, a lot of different opportunities. Again, it's real preliminary. I just want to put out that that's an option. But we'll reassess and see where we set with our options.
Because remember, we still have a lot of complaints on the streets and the potholes, so, we have to also take that in consideration. So thank you.
The other thing I want to discuss is the possibility of changing a resolution that currently spells out the guidelines for procurement and thresholds when it comes to purchases. Right now, it's really difficult to turn POs around in a timely manner because there's a lot of people that won't give us a second quote. So right now, the state's threshold is a lot more lenient than the city's. And anything over $1,000 requires a PO. My recommendation would be closer to $2,000 or $2,500. It speeds up the process and makes it a little bit easier when trying to complete small projects. So that's something I wanted to talk about in an upcoming work session, as well as talking about changing the commission meeting times. That's set by ordinance. That's a little bit more difficult, of course, because we have to go through the public comments. We have to go through the 2 readings before we can pass that. But I think it was nice when we had our special meeting, having it at an earlier time so we could get out of here by 5 o'clock. And we also have increased transparency and opportunity for citizens to speak virtually now. After COVID, we have some different applications that are utilized that give them the opportunity to attend the meetings. And I think that was the biggest concern previously in the past on having these meetings after working hours. So I'd like to discuss that with the commission in a work session as well. And last but not least, YCC applications are being accepted still through May 20th at 4 p.m. There are 8 vacant positions available, so I'd like to encourage the youth in our community to apply for that. It's a great program. And online, there's one more, bartenders. We need bartenders for the convention center. So if you're interested, please pick up an application at City Hall or find one online and submit it. And that concludes my manager's report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is items from commissioners. Commissioner Arias.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Sarsa, thanks for coming in. Mr. Fox, Ms. Olson, we look forward to the thing out of this. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Cherry.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Mark, a couple quick questions. When was the last time the city updated the comprehensive plan?
Comp plan, official comp plan, I believe, was it, don't quote me this, I want to say 2012. It should be updated every 4 years. I think they had, instead of a new comp plan, they just
adjusted it.
Adjusted it. And I think that was in 2016, right?
So getting back to Mr. Fox, the reason 4th and 5th is because of the comprehensive plan designated as arterial streets.
Correct.
So we're going to do something about it. I just suggest that we make sure we're going to a plan that's been adopted or whatever. But I don't think it should be checked out.
Correct.
But I wasn't a red pickup good. Probably got my license plate is a white one, but anyway. That's all I have. Thanks.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya.
Yeah. I know that the police are patrolling 5th Street because I own a building there on 5th Street on the 1400 block. And the other night they were stopping people. So actually, I know they're trying to do the best they can. I know, and I agree with the gentleman that came here, Mr. Pott, that it does, people do race down that street. I mean, I wouldn't have known if I didn't own a building there in that area, but other than that, we might have to put something to slow them down in the middle of the racing street. And that would really help out. It's not that big deal, everybody's residents there, I'm sure one stop sign, two stop signs, not that big of a deal. We got, on 7th Street, we got one after another one, and people do very good on it. The other thing is, I did ask veterans coming in today, they want to have their cable on their flagpole fixed. They had requested it over a month ago, and they said they have never gotten it done, and that they can put their flag up, that somebody busted it and took the flag, I guess. I don't know. And so they're being requesting it, and it's not happening.
Where's this?
At the Veterans Park.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
And they said if you could actually get that cable so they can get the what do you call it, the flag back up. And then also the fact is that they also would like to have, I guess they're having water problems there, they broke something there, and they can irrigate very well. And they want to make sure they come in today and visit with me. The new truck stuff, I should have researched this and I apologize for it. How far up in that truck stop area is the city limits? Is it all covered under the city limits?
Yes, sir, it's all within city limits.
Okay. On there also, there is a situation that on any time there's a business being established or built along I-40, the New Mexico DOT does have to come in and do a traffic study, and they will make the determination, and that's where maybe that's where these residents might be able to go, if they feel that that might not be a good, but before they give the permit for it to actually go through or give an access, what they call an easement for the trucks to be able to access into it, the DOT does come in and they do the traffic study for the purpose of making sure that it does not create a dangerous situation. So that might be one area to go, and then I guess the second area would be planning development. I mean, not planning development, the zoning area, and bring it before them. And then, because I think we are the last resource at the end of the line. The other thing I have, what's going on, remember, it's been quite a while back, but you haven't given me an update on the ambulance that was broken. Are we still having it parked gathering dust, or are we moving on fixing it?
Still having issues with it. The last I heard, there was supposed to be going back to Clovis, and
But that's been
it's been months,
years.
John's right now, right?
I believe so.
But that's the whole deal. Remember on this commission, we made it clear that we want it moved, we want it fixed. The school was really very good-hearted in trying to help us. Now they haven't even been able to, because we can't even give them a bill. So what do you think would be the situation here?
I think it needs to be taken to Clovis, ready to be handled.
Well, then why are we doing it?
It's a good question.
Good. Anyway, the other question I have is, this is important, we always talk about, and it was the last time I was in the commission, and this time, the Princess Theater can be an excellent asset for this community, especially because we're so motivated in the downtown area. And every time capital outlay comes in and everything, we seem to be bouncing it off the other opponents. So we need to see that we do invest in our own properties and care for our own properties. I know we put a roof, which is probably the best thing you can do, especially when you're trying to preserve a building. And I know we did studies on the structure of the building, and it's okay. Now we need to either get on either one way or another to find funding. I know at that time, our Senator Campos came in, he gave us all kinds of ideas, and then we didn't decide to utilize them at all.
Can I interrupt you for just a minute? Scott down at the chamber and I have been working on a funding process, and so he hasn't gotten all the information back yet, but there is a grant that he's willing to help work on.
Good.
So that was one thing I was gonna bring up in my comments.
Yeah, but we need to really look at this and see what we can do, because, and that's great that Scott and you're working on it, because, this has been I was in the eighties when the school gave us that building. I think Pittman Care Federal Saving gave it to the school, and the school flipped it over to us. And the only thing we have done is just kept it there and not really do much investment into it. So we do really have to look at it, see what we need to do.
Were you on the commission then, and you really accepted? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we accepted it because we were, at that time, it was a very progressive commission, and they were doing good. And at that time, we had a theater downtown. You remember the downtown theater? And that's why we got it. And then I left the commission, and I don't know what happened. But that was what the whole thing was. We accepted it because we saw the potential on it. And at that time, we had an excellent theater and a drama theater program downtown that we utilized in another building. So this thing has potential. It's not a white elephant. It is something that should be done and fixed because it's part of our history and our culture. And we should be able to preserve it. And other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay, Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes, ma'am. There are a few things. The properties that we knocked down, the houses and stuff, who's gonna clean them up?
That's a good question. We've discussed that previously. They are not city property. I don't believe we have any liens on them. They're stagnant. That goes back to the county assessor's office to see who owns them. If I remember correctly, most of those people that own the properties are deceased and have no next of kin, so they're just kind of floating out there until the back taxes are high enough where the state will come in and actually have an auction on them. But at this point, there's no owner of those properties.
I was thinking, do you have a person that does like safety stuff, go around town checking stop signs, speed limit signs and stuff like that?
We do not have any type of safety person. We're looking more on the risk management side. We are having a new HR director, which will start on Tuesday. That person will be tasked with some risk management. But if it's something, for example, a stop sign, the streets department should typically be out there looking at these things. And if they're old, or as we get complaints or work orders that come in, that's typically how they go and replace the stop signs. But yeah, again, we're losing another employee from the streets department, so we're going to be down realistically to 2 people. So it's going to be tough. If we could get the community, if they have some concerns of those that say they're faded, or if there's issues with speed limit, any signs that are faded, any kind of regulatory safety signs, please feel free to call that in as a work order at City Hall, and we'll do our best to get out there as soon as we can.
Can I say something about the work orders? It's not to be mean or anything.
Oh,
But somebody told me that anytime the mayor puts something in, they jump on it. When we ask,
well, call me and I'll ask.
that's what I'm saying, That's it.
I just drive around town and find things and then call me.
I want to thank Mr. Fox. Yes, all the roads are pretty dangerous. I've seen a lot of people on Rock Island, people on the boulevard at Bobby, like, at night they're racing, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And hopefully we could ask the sheriff's department or state police to help us out. They're always around here. They can do a little tour once in a while. That's it, man.
And I believe I visited with Mark about Second Street. We've had some concerns about Second Street, people racing up and down it. And then we've also had some semis driving down Second Street, which I really don't want them driving on our new street and running that. So, we kind of need, I was asking him if he could look into putting a speed limit or no trucks over so many tons down that street, because I hate to ruin that. Thank you, Wayne, for coming in, or Mr. Fox, excuse me, for coming and pointing out the stop signs. I agree with you. Even though my street's a dead-end street, they seem to race down it too, so. But, and the stop sign by the high school that was so faded, I think has been replaced. And I appreciated that, because you couldn't see it at all until you were right up on it. So, anyway, Ms. Sarsa, thank you for bringing your concerns before the commission. We always like to hear from our citizens. Connie, we will work on that. work session and get back with you too, so. Also too, the Pinata Festival, I'm excited about that. Just sorry I'm not gonna be here, I'll miss it, and I don't want to, but grandson come first, sorry. That's person. I would like everyone to put on their calendars for May 20th. We are going to have 279 bikers ride down Route 66. It's a run for the wall. It's the Vietnam veterans that do this every year. And they have been trying to come through Tucumcari for 2 years, but we've had COVID. And so this year it is a go. The estimated time of arrival will be about 1:20 in the afternoon. They're on a pretty tight schedule, so they're not gonna stop. They're just gonna get off at the west exit and come right through town. I have visited with the Sheriff's Department. I believe Under Sheriff Garcia's visited with Pete about escorting them and everything to get back on. But it is something I would like to see our community support because they're our veterans and we want them to know we do appreciate them. So anyway, if any of you could be there, it'd be nice too. I'd like to see everybody out waving flags and taking pictures and holding signs and thanking them for their service. The Burn Man, I'm glad to know that we are under it as his alarm goes off. So I
Means
can't
the
think of
meeting's over.
Pardon? Okay. I can't think of anything else right now, so I'll entertain a motion. Oh, congratulations to our 3 state champions at track.
Oh,
Clay County had 3 state champions at the state track meet, so congratulations to them. Don't forget too, graduation is coming up, so be on the lookout for lots of traffic and visitors in town. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Roll call.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Guerrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Adias,
Yes.
Commissioner Cherry.
Yes.
Thank you all for coming.
Excuse me, sir. You charge of that.
No, that's right.
No.
I called you back. So,
It'll probably take them all of 10 minutes. Yeah. It's quite a long.
Have a great day, guys.
Yeah, we don't have the place here no more. Right, Chris? But I took Columbus one here. They wanted to do it at the church, but